Barbecue is the most American activity on earth. You take meat, you apply fire, you invite people over, and you stand next to the grill like you personally invented the concept of cooking. You wear an apron with a joke on it. You hold a spatula like a scepter. You are in complete control of the situation. Today, we are talking about 13 people who encountered a grill, a propane tank, a bag of charcoal, something in the general category of outdoor cooking, and lost. Not to a rival, not to an enemy, not to some complex series of events nobody could have predicted. To the grill, to the backyard, to the thing that was supposed to be Sunday afternoon. Some of these stories will make you never want to touch a grill again. Some will make you question every decision you have ever made with fire. All of them are real. All of them happened. And every single one of them started with somebody thinking, this is fine. I have this completely under control. They did not. The wrong door. There is a philosophy among certain people that says, whatever happens, just stay calm and think it through. Don't panic. Assess the situation. Make a reasonable decision. This philosophy assumes that the situation gives you enough time to do that. It does not always give you enough time. The setup is simple. A man was outside his apartment building in Florissant, Missouri. There was a barbecue grill nearby, the kind of communal outdoor grill that apartment complexes put out so residents can enjoy the summer. He was in the vicinity of the grill. He tripped. Now, tripping is not normally a life-threatening event. People trip every day. You trip, you catch yourself, you look around to see if anyone saw you. You walk away with whatever dignity you have left. Normal. What was not normal is where he fell. He stumbled forward and went straight into the door of his neighbor's apartment. Not knocked on it. Not bumped it. Went into it. The full weight of a falling man against a door that someone was on the other side of. The neighbor inside heard something hit his door hard, without seeing what was on the other side, without knowing it was an accident, without knowing it was his neighbor, without knowing it was a man who had simply tripped over a barbecue grill. The neighbor opened fire through the door. The man outside was shot and killed. Let's be precise about what happened here. The grill did not explode. The grill did not catch fire. The grill did not malfunction in any way. The grill just sat there, as grills do, and a man tripped over it. And the chain of events that followed, the fall, the door, the neighbor, the shot, unfolded in about 3 seconds. 3 seconds between standing next to a grill and gone. The grill was not charged with anything. The grill remains at large. The church barbecue. If there is one place where you should be safe from the universe's sense of humor, it is a church barbecue. A church barbecue is the most benign event in American life. People bring potato salad. Someone brings brownies that everyone says are great even when they're not. There are folding tables with plastic tablecloths. Children run around. Nobody is doing anything dangerous. It is, by definition, the opposite of a situation where something terrible happens. Doug Grip understood this. He was 52 years old, a member of the men's ministry at his church in Indiana, and he was setting up the gas grill for the event. Not cooking on it yet. Not doing anything complicated. Setting it up. The most routine part of the most routine activity at the most routine kind of event in America. The grill was a large model with a main cooking area, a side burner, and a big warming compartment. The kind of grill that looks impressive at a church event and signals that the men's ministry is serious about its food. It had been sitting there, waiting. What Doug did not know was that propane gas had been slowly accumulating inside the warming compartment. Not a dramatic amount. Not an obvious amount. An invisible amount, because propane is colorless and odorless unless treated with an additive. And sometimes even then you miss it. The gas had settled in the compartment, heavy and patient, waiting for an ignition source. Doug lit the side burner. The propane inside the warming compartment ignited. The pressure of the explosion forced open the warming compartment door. A heavy metal door, the kind rated to hold heat and weight in whatever you put in it. The door blew open at high speed and struck Doug Grip directly. He died from the impact, Not from fire, not from the explosion itself, from the door of his own grill, moving at speed, delivering the verdict on a gas accumulation that had been building silently while he set up the folding tables. The Hamilton County coroner ruled it accidental. Of course it was accidental. Nobody in the history of church barbecues has intentionally triggered a propane explosion at the men's ministry event. What it was, specifically, was the universe deciding that even the most innocent context is not a guarantee. And that even at a church. Even at a barbecue. Even when you are just setting up the grill before anyone has eaten anything, the grill has opinions. The wrong fuel. There is a specific type of frustration that everyone who has ever used a charcoal grill understands. The charcoal will not light. You used the lighter fluid, you lit it, it flared up. You waited. The charcoal is just sitting there, gray and indifferent, doing absolutely nothing. You add more lighter fluid, same result, you try again. Nothing. At some point, the charcoal begins to feel like it is doing this deliberately, like it has made a personal decision not to cooperate with you today. This is the moment when some people make good decisions. They wait longer, they try a chimney starter, they accept that charcoal has its own timeline, and they are not in charge of it. These people have a normal barbecue. A 19-year-old in Georgiana, Alabama, made a different decision. The lighter fluid was not working fast enough. He had a container of diesel fuel and gasoline nearby, the kind of fuel mixture that is available in rural Alabama for equipment and vehicles and various legitimate purposes. He decided to use it on the grill. Here is the relevant chemistry, delivered without judgment. Gasoline vaporizes at room temperature. Lighter fluid is specifically formulated to be controlled when applied to charcoal. Gasoline is not formulated for this. Gasoline is formulated to power internal combustion engines, which means it is designed to release a very large amount of energy very quickly. He poured it on the grill. The fire that resulted was not the fire he was trying to start. His father and his brother were also in the area and were also caught in the flash. Both of them were injured. He was the only one who did not survive. The charcoal, for what it's worth, lit immediately. Whether this is ironic or simply the expected outcome of applied physics is a question the charcoal does not have opinions about. The charcoal just sat there and did what charcoal does when exposed to a sufficient ignition source. The charcoal was just doing its job. The charcoal finally cooperated. It just did not cooperate the way anyone wanted. The bet. Every bad decision in human history has a moment where it could have stopped. A moment where someone could have said, actually, no. A moment where the situation was still recoverable. This story has several of those moments. It proceeds through all of them without stopping. It was 2017, Rowan County, North Carolina. There was a barbecue. There was alcohol, which is relevant to the decision-making quality of what follows. And there was Gary Allen Banning, who at some point during the evening found himself in a conversation that ended with a bet. The bet was, could he drink gasoline? Now, the correct answer to this question, the answer that everyone who has ever gone through a standard American education, or watched a single documentary about fuels, or simply existed as a human being with basic pattern recognition, is no. Not as a boast, not as a caveat, factually, categorically, chemically, no. Gasoline is not a beverage. It is not close to a beverage. It was never designed to be near a human digestive system. Gary Allen Banning drank the gasoline. He won the bet. This is an important fact. He consumed the gasoline and was upright and functioning. This was, by the terms of the wager, a victory. Then he lit a cigarette. Gasoline, when ingested, does not simply stay in the stomach. The vapors migrate. They become part of the breath. The exhaled air of a person who has just consumed gasoline contains flammable compounds. This is documented. This is physics. This is not something that changes based on how confident you feel about your decision. Gary Allen Banning died. He won the bet. He lost everything else. The other people at the barbecue reportedly watched the whole sequence in the specific silence of people processing something that they will be describing for the rest of their lives. The grill was still going. The meat was still cooking. The beer was still cold. The barbecue continued to exist as a context even after it stopped being a barbecue and became something else entirely. The leaf blower. The charcoal grill is a test of patience that America has been failing since 1952. It takes time. The coals need to heat up. The gray ash needs to form. You need to wait 20 to 30 minutes before the surface is ready to cook on. This is the rule. This has always been the rule. It is on the back of every bag of charcoal, and it has been on the back of every bag of charcoal for as long as bags of charcoal have existed. Some people wait 20 to 30 minutes. These people have a normal barbecue. Some people look at the grill, look at the shed, see the leaf blower hanging there on its hook, and think, what if I introduced more oxygen at higher velocity? What if I simply accelerated the process? What if I treated this grill problem as an engineering problem? This person picked up the leaf blower and pointed it at the charcoal. The charcoal, which had been sitting there building heat and developing a nice bed of embers and doing exactly what charcoal is supposed to do given time, suddenly received approximately 160 cubic feet of air per minute at high velocity. Embers are light. Embers are basically carbon dust that has achieved a temperature above 500 degrees Celsius. When you introduce high-velocity air to a collection of embers, the embers go where the air takes them, which is in this case, outward, in all directions, including backward, including toward the person operating the air delivery device. The man was badly burned. The injuries were severe enough to be fatal. He died from the results of applying a solution designed for leaves to a problem involving fire. In his defense, more oxygen does accelerate combustion. He was not wrong about the chemistry. He was wrong about the directionality. He assumed the additional oxygen would make the fire go down into the coals, faster and hotter. The fire had other ideas about which way it wanted to travel. The grill was eventually ready to cook on. Nobody cooked on it. The spare tank. Preparation is a virtue. We praise preparation. We tell children to be prepared. Scouts are built around the concept. The entire field of project management exists because preparation is good and the lack of it is bad. Being prepared is generally the right move, unless you are being prepared with a propane tank and you have placed that preparation directly next to a heat source, in which case preparation becomes a specific kind of problem. The setup. A family barbecue in California. The grill was going, the food was cooking, everything was normal. And someone, with the genuinely good intention of making sure the grill would not run out of fuel midway through the meal, placed a spare propane bottle close to the grill. Right there. Ready to go. When the first tank runs out, you grab the spare. No interruption. No one has to go to the garage. Efficient. Prepared. A propane tank is a metal container full of compressed, liquefied gas. The liquid becomes gas as it is used. The pressure inside the tank is calibrated for normal ambient temperatures, the kind of temperatures you encounter in a backyard on a summer day. The keyword is ambient. A propane tank sitting in the sun on a summer day is one thing. A propane tank sitting 3 feet from a grill that is generating significant radiant heat is a different thing. The temperature around the tank rises. As temperature rises, the pressure inside the tank rises. This is basic thermodynamics. This is what pressure gauges and safety valves are for. The spare propane bottle, heated by the radiant energy of the grill it was standing next to, expanded until the pressure exceeded what it was designed to hold. It exploded. A woman nearby sustained severe injuries to her neck from the explosion. She did not survive. The irony is not that she was unprepared. The irony is that she was too prepared. So prepared that the extra equipment she brought to the situation became the situation. The spare tank that was supposed to prevent an inconvenience became the event. Store your spare propane away from the grill, in the shade, in the shed, anywhere that is not next to a device that is actively producing heat. This is in the manual. This has always been in the manual. The manual exists because this has happened before. more than once, in more than one backyard, to more than one person who was just trying to make sure dinner didn't get interrupted. The nap. Here is a list of places it is acceptable to fall asleep: a bed, a couch, a hammock, an armchair, a long flight, a boring meeting that does not require your input, the back seat of a car where someone else is driving. Here is a place that is not on that list: next to an active grill. The logic of falling asleep next to a grill is understandable, even though it is catastrophically wrong. You are outside. It is warm. The food is cooking and you are keeping an eye on it, which is comfortable. Maybe you had a beer. Maybe it was a long week. The sun is at a good angle. The chair is decent. The grill is humming along. There is no immediate action required of you. And then your eyes close. Just for a second. Just to rest them. You are still monitoring the situation. You are monitoring it from behind your eyelids. A man in Pennsylvania fell asleep in a lawn chair while keeping watch over his grill. At some point during his monitoring of the situation, the fire did what fire does when it is left unsupervised. It found something additional to burn. Embers, carried by the breeze, found dry material nearby. The kind of dry material that summer backyards produce. Dead leaves, dry grass, old wood. Whatever was adjacent to the cooking area. The fire spread from the grill to the surrounding area. Then it spread to the structure. By the time anyone else was aware of the situation had progressed significantly beyond what a sleeping man in a lawn chair could have managed. Even if he had been awake, he was found dead in the fire. The nap lasted longer than the barbecue. The official cause was the unattended grill. Unattended is doing a lot of work in that phrase, because he was physically present the entire time. He was right there. He was just experiencing the grill through the medium of unconsciousness, rather than active supervision. The grill does not care about the distinction. The grill requires your actual attention, not your physical proximity. It is not enough to be nearby. You have to be awake. The U-Haul. Moving is stressful. You have to box everything up. Rent a truck, load the truck, drive the truck, unload the truck, and figure out where your kitchen stuff went while somehow also managing the transition from one life location to another. It is a lot. In the rush and chaos of moving, you grab things and put them in the truck and deal with the specifics later. You grab the lamp and put it in the truck. You grab the outdoor furniture and put it in the truck. And at some point, you grab the propane tank from the grill because the grill is going to the new house too. And you put the propane tank in the truck. A man in Lewiston, Idaho in 2025 was moving. His belongings were loaded into a U-Haul rental truck. Among those belongings was a propane tank, the standard 20-pound tank that sits under a backyard gas grill, the kind that every American household with a gas grill either owns or has owned at some point. The tank was in the truck. The truck was in motion. At some point during transport, the tank tipped or shifted. It was not secured in a way that kept it upright and stable, because securing propane tanks during transport is a specific requirement that is not intuitive if nobody has ever told you about it. A propane tank lying on its side does not behave the same way as a propane tank standing upright. The liquid propane inside moves toward the valve. If the valve is not the specific type designed for this, or if the pressure conditions change, gas can escape. The gas accumulated inside the enclosed truck. All it needed was an ignition source, a spark, a component of the truck's systems, anything. It found one. The U-Haul exploded. The man was killed in the blast. There is a specific federal regulation about transporting propane. It requires the tank to be upright, secured, and transported in a ventilated space, not the enclosed cargo area of a rental truck. This regulation exists because this has happened before. It happened again in 2025. It will keep happening as long as propane tanks are small enough to carry and rental trucks are large enough to fit them. He was moving to a new place. He did not make it to the new place. The impossible poisoning. Carbon monoxide poisoning from a charcoal grill is by now a well-known risk. Everyone has seen the warnings. Never use a charcoal grill indoors. Never bring it into a tent, a garage, a car, any enclosed space. The gas is invisible, odorless, and it will kill you before you realize anything is wrong. This is on the packaging. This is in the news. This is documented in hundreds of cases. The reason those warnings say enclosed space is that outdoors, in the open air, carbon monoxide disperses. It goes up and out and away. The concentration never gets high enough to be dangerous. This is physics. This is why outdoor barbecues are fine and indoor barbecues are not fine. Except a group of people set up their barbecue in the corner of a building, the kind of L-shaped corner where two exterior walls meet, creating a right angle. It was a reasonable place to put a grill, sheltered from the wind, out of the way of foot traffic, conveniently close to the back door. Thousands of people have put their grill in a corner like this. Most of them are fine. The problem is what corners do to airflow. Outdoors, with wind, the carbon monoxide from the charcoal would normally disperse in multiple directions and dilute quickly to harmless levels. But in a corner, the walls create a pocket. The wind, instead of carrying the gas away, circulates it back. The corner acts like a partial enclosure. Not a room, not a tent, but enough geometry to change how the gas moves. The carbon monoxide concentration in that corner built up to levels that would normally require an enclosed space to achieve. Several people were poisoned. The case was documented in a medical journal specifically because it was considered unusual enough to be worth recording. Outdoor CO poisoning from a corner placement. Some of those people did not survive. The rule about charcoal grills and enclosed spaces has always been correct. What this case demonstrates is that enclosed is not a binary category. You do not need 4 walls and a ceiling to create the conditions for poisoning. You need enough geometry to trap the gas. A corner is enough geometry. A corner with no wind is enough. The grill was outside the entire time, technically, but the corner was doing work that the inside of a garage usually does. The flying grill. At no point in the design of American roads, traffic regulations, or the general social contract of driving did anyone account for the possibility of an airborne barbecue grill. This is a gap in the framework that nobody noticed because it seemed like an edge case. Grills are heavy. Grills sit on patios and decks and in backyards. And at campgrounds. Grills do not fly. This was a reasonable assumption. This assumption was wrong in Macedon, New York, in the summer of 2017. A camper was being towed down Route 31. Attached to the back of the camper's hitch was a large barbecue grill. The owners were heading somewhere for a trip, and they were bringing their grill. Because bringing your own grill is a thing that Americans do, and it had presumably worked fine on every previous trip. The camper hit a bump. The grill, which was attached to the tow hitch, began to wobble. The camper hit a second bump. The grill's wobble became something worse. The connection that was supposed to hold the grill to the camper reached the limit of what it could hold. The grill separated from the camper. Moving at highway speed, an object that separates from a moving vehicle does not stop. It continues moving, carrying the momentum it had as part of the vehicle, and it goes somewhere. In this case, it went into the air and came back down into a car traveling in the opposite direction on Route 31. Seth Krebix was the passenger in that car. He was killed by the impact. The grill had traveled from the camper's hitch through the air and into a car that had nothing to do with the camper, the trip, or any grill-related activity. He was simply in a car on a road in New York on a summer day. The grill survived the incident. This fact is in the news report, and it sits there without comment, which is appropriate because no comment would add anything. If you tow a grill, secure it. Not to the hitch, in the vehicle, or in a proper trailer. Secured so that bumps on Route 31 are not able to redefine its trajectory. The grill does not know it is supposed to stay attached to the camper. You have to tell it, and the way you tell it is with proper restraints. The fall. There is a specific cruelty to the category of medical events that happen while you are doing something ordinary, not while you are rock climbing, not while you are doing something where risk is understood and accepted. while you are standing in your backyard next to your grill on an afternoon that was supposed to be completely normal. The medical event does not consult your schedule before arriving. It does not check whether your current location is convenient. A man in Wichita Falls, Texas, which is, for context, a city in North Texas that has been named the way Texas names things with full commitment to geographical description, was in his backyard in 2017. He was at his grill. Investigators later believed he experienced a medical episode of some kind, a cardiac event, a loss of consciousness, something that removed his ability to control his own body without warning. He fell. The grill was directly in front of him. A charcoal grill is, at operating temperature, somewhere between 300 and 700 degrees Fahrenheit. At the grate, it is an open container of fire. If a standing person falls directly forward and there is an open grill in their path, the grill does not move. The person does not have the ability to redirect in mid-fall if they have lost consciousness. He fell into the grill. He was unconscious when it happened, which is the only mercy in this sequence of events. The fire caught his clothing. The fire then spread beyond him to nearby material in the yard. By the time the fire was discovered, it had grown enough to involve the structure of the house as well. The fire department ruled the house fire as originating from an unattended outdoor grill, which is accurate in the most technical sense. But unattended requires some reconsideration when the person attending it had a medical emergency that removed their ability to attend. There is no lesson in this one that protects against medical emergencies. What there is, if you are grilling alone, tell someone where you are. Keep your phone on you. The grill itself is not the villain here. The villain, if there is one, is the absence of anyone who could have intervened in the 4 minutes that separate a medical event from something irreversible. The shirt. Most of what kills people in the context of barbecue is dramatic. Explosions. Flammable fuel misapplied at speed. Objects detaching from vehicles and achieving airborne status. The events that make the news tend to be events with some kind of scale to them. This one is quiet. This one is the size of a shirt. 73-year-old man in Spanish Fork, Utah, was in his backyard in 2018 lighting a charcoal grill. This is an activity he had presumably done many times before. You take the charcoal, you arrange it, you apply lighter fluid or a chimney starter, you light it. Standard procedure, nothing inherently dramatic about it. When you lean over a grill to light it, you lean over an open source of flame. Your arms are extended, your face is close to the work, your torso is angled toward the heat source, and whatever you are wearing is in the vicinity of the flame as you create the flame. His shirt caught fire. He was alone. There was no one in the backyard with him. There was no one to help him put it out. He was 73 years old and his shirt was on fire, and he was the only person present. He died from his injuries. The lesson that every outdoor cooking safety guide gives you, and that most people read once and forget, is this: wear close-fitting clothing when you grill. Not loose fabric that hangs over the heat source. Not a baggy shirt that can drift into the flame. If you are going to be near fire, consider what is on your body and how it behaves near fire. And tell someone where you are. Not because the grill is dangerous, you can manage the grill, but because if the grill wins, even briefly, you need someone nearby who can change the outcome in the next 30 seconds. He managed grills his whole life. He managed one grill once, alone, and the shirt was the variable he had not planned for. The vapor trail. This is the last one, and it is the one that once you understand it, you will never forget. Because unlike several of the cases in this video, which involve unusual circumstances, improbable events, objects flying through the air, this one involves something that happens in backyards across America every summer, every weekend, multiple times per day. The scenario: your charcoal grill has been going for a while. The coals were lit, they were doing their thing, but then you got distracted, or the coals were not quite right, or the fire went down lower than you wanted. You pick up the lighter fluid, the bottle, the one with the pointy cap that you squeeze to squirt. You squeeze the bottle over the coals. Here is what you can see: the lighter fluid landing on the coals. The flame, if any, is still going, possibly flaring up a little. Standard stuff. You've seen this before. This is fine. Here is what you cannot see. The vapor. Lighter fluid and gasoline and any flammable liquid does not just sit where it lands. It evaporates. It produces vapors at room temperature. Those vapors are heavier than air, so they drift downward and outward from where the liquid is. If there is any fire nearby, which there is, because you are using this liquid specifically because there is fire, those vapors form a continuous flammable path between the fire and the bottle. The ATF calls this flame jetting. The fire travels along the vapor trail from the coals back toward the bottle in your hand. Not slowly, fast. And the flame arrives at the bottle before you have any time to process that it is coming because it is traveling an invisible path that you did not know existed. Multiple people have died from this. Multiple more have been severely burned. The cases are documented. The phenomenon is understood. It is in fire safety manuals. And every summer, someone who has not read those manuals picks up a bottle of lighter fluid, squeezes it toward coals that are still hot, and finds out about flame jetting in the most direct way possible. The fix is not complicated. You do not add lighter fluid to hot coals. You add it to cold coals before you light them, and then you step back before you introduce the ignition. Or you use a chimney starter, which requires no fluid at all and which has exactly 0 cases of flame jetting in its history. Or you wait. You let the coals do what coals do, which takes time but does not involve a physics problem that wants to follow a vapor trail back to your hand. Every one of the 13 people in this video made a decision, or were near someone who made a decision, or were on a road where someone else's decision found them. Some of those decisions were avoidable. Some were not. Some of the physics was known in advance. Some of it was not. But this one you know now.